Regarding payments, you also have associating payments with charges. What does that mean exactly?
So if you, let's say you have attorney fee X amount, FedEx shipping, and then you have some expenses, FedEx shipping X amount, translation cost X amount. So when someone pays, if they've, let's say they didn't pay the entire balance of the invoice, but they paid you, the amount for the attorney fee, and then they still owe you for the expenses. So you can associate what they paid with the particular charge on the invoice.
Like itemization of it. That's perfect. Wow.
Itemization of what they paid for on the invoice, as well as what was on the invoice.
Now, the last thing is actually like the biggest thing, which is customization, smartphone customization. And as you mentioned before recording this, the new smartphone 3 system. Can you talk about what that is and what updates are coming?
Sure. Well, before we even get to smartphone customization, let me mention we also have the global invoice numbering. So the way that invoice numbering worked up until this point was when you created an invoice for a client, it was numbered according to how many invoices you created for that client. So your first invoice for a client would be invoice number 1, and the first invoice for a different client would be invoice number 1 for that client, and so on. Now we've added the feature where you can have sort of the invoices globally numbered. So if you've already created 500 invoices in your account, and you're now, the next invoice for this particular client is going to be number 501, because you're numbering them for the entire firm, not numbering the invoices based on how many you've created for a particular client, but overall in the entire firm. And you can set the starting number. So if you've already created 500 invoices this year, you can plug in 500 as your starting number, and the next invoice that you create will be 501, and so forth. We also have the charges over time report, where you can run a report now and see a report of the charges that you've added to invoices. So let's say it's the middle of the month, and you want to run a report on expenses and see sort of all the expenses that you incurred for different clients the first half of this month. So you can run that report and see what the expense amounts are, or what the fees are that you've added to invoices. You can run that over a given time period. So in the report, you see charges added to all the invoices for all the clients over a given time period, and you can break them down by whether they're services or whether they're expenses.